Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show. I got to tell you something. First of all, I'm really grateful that you're here for my show, my podcast, right? This movie, I watched this movie a couple days ago with my oldest son and my youngest son. My oldest son's 22, my youngest is 19, and it was freaking fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
It's fantastic. It's just such a great action movie, you know? It's just, and is it okay if I ask you a bunch of dumb questions?
Fire away.
Well, first of all, the actress, the girl, whoever, I don't know her name, she was amazing.
If you saw the spelling of it, you'd butcher it like I did the first time around. But her name is Bodhi Ray Brannick.
Bodhi Ray Brannick.
And she is just a sensation. She's in a new movie called Hamnet that's out right now.
Oh, that's the one that won all the awards. She's in that?
She's the oldest daughter. She's going to be in Sense and Sensibility, the new one that's coming out. She's going to be in Eggers' new movie Werewolf. You're going to be seeing her a lot.
Okay, so watching your movie, I was like, this woman is fantastic. So. Yeah. It's like I believe that she was going to have a huge future. So did you discover her?
I would say that I didn't discover her, but there is something about her that I see why everybody's getting attached to her and wanting to put her in movies. You know, you can get all the best Academy Award winners. You can put them all together and put them in front of the camera, and that does not mean they're going to have chemistry. It doesn't mean it's going to work. We've seen those movies. We're like, how do these movies fail with this kind of firepower?
Right.
It's about chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
It's about DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And so they, when I came on to the picture, Jason asked me to do it, and I read the script, and just, if it doesn't emotionally grab me, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. And I probably said no to some movies I shouldn't have, but if I don't really feel it in my gut, well, then how are you going to feel it? How am I going to convey that to you to have an emotional ride with something where you can do a big action ride, but be emotionally gripped in the inside of it? The 100%. 70s, right? The movies that we all remember and love and revere. And so they had already had about 500 girls that they went through all across Europe and the United Kingdom. And I remember I started going through the tapes, and this little freckled girl, I just stopped and I had to look at her because there was something in her eyes, like this old soul, like there was an energy that was inside of her. And so she was one of the 5 girls, the selects that we were going to screen test with Jason. And she happened to be the first girl that came in the room. And it was electric.
And you're the guy that goes, she's the one.
He looked at me after she went toe-to-toe with him.
Yeah.
In tears. It's the fierce scene in the movie where she knows that he's going to leave her because he has to do it to keep her out of harm's way.
Right.
And she's not having it.
Right.
And when it was done, we looked at each other and we're like, what do we do now? Because that's Jesse.
You know, there's so many things I want to ask you about the movie, but I don't want to spoil it, so I'll have to ask you off camera before you leave. But I just thought it was I thought the villain was There's the two villains in the movie for me was the legendary guy from Pirates of the Caribbean, Bill Nighy. Bill Nighy.
Doesn't get any better.
Was he in Love Actually? He's in one of those movies.
He's in everything.
Yeah.
He's one of those, legendary British actors. Harriet Walter played the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
To have somebody like that come in and play a role of that stature when she's usually carrying entire movies. Yeah. We got great people.
Well, also, the other dude reminded me of the Terminator 2. Right, the way he just was relentless.
Well, it's funny because that we said, like, Jason represents the T1000. And Workman is a T2000. He's the newer version without the moral code, and a guy that said, hey, you know what? I'm the guy that you send out to do the greater good. But am I now doing the greater good, or am I doing your bidding? Yeah. You know, it's what we live with today about, you know, this sense of justice in the world, this moral code, what we're doing around the world. I'm not trying to answer any questions. I'm not trying to give you my opinion, but I like to push buttons. I like to get in there with social themes and let us all have a discussion about it afterwards.
So let me ask you this without, there's about another cast member on the show. Is the dog the same dog that's in Fallout? No, because you've seen Fallout. It's
you know what?
They look
Yara
exactly
very
the same.
well could be. She's an amazing. I'm a big dog person.
Yeah,
and I mean, we all fell in love with Yara.
My wife and I have a dog. We have a dog rescue.
Yeah, I mean, and the Yara's owner and trainer is one of the best I've ever seen, and I got so lucky with this entire cast because, again, it wasn't just the rock stars, everybody's chemistry together was just so sensational. You felt it, you know, even with Jason and Yara and then Bodhi.
Well, the thing is, there's a show, it's called Fallout, and it's with Walton Goggins, and there's a dog named Dog Meat based off the video game, and the dog looks exactly like the dog in your movie. And I actually, the moment when she's with the dog, you know, what he's drawing it, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think your movie is fantastic. Let me ask some stupid questions. You know when you do the intro scene where you have the lighthouse and the camera's coming up, is that a drone? Is that a helicopter? Like, what is that?
I use both. I'm a big fan. I have a drone team that I use on all my movies.
Yeah, because in Greenland, it starts off that way too. You're going over
and also the movie I did in Saudi Arabia called Kandahar, you know, we're the first ones to film there since Lawrence of Arabia, and we brought like 25 different countries there to work. And there was a drone team, one of the best pilots out of South Africa I've ever seen, you know, who just understands how they can make me feel like I'm David Lean or John Ford and give you unbelievable cinematic scope.
Yeah.
So I carry them with me. So those were drone shots because they don't act like a drone. They're like a mini helicopter.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
He understands how helicopters shoot. But what's great is you don't have the downdraft of big rotors and you're not washing out the set. You're able to be a little bit more nimble and get them into tighter situations. So, those are definitely parts of my weapons.
And then when you're shooting a scene like the boat scene, the weather, are you just waiting for the weather to be like that, or is any of that CGI stuff? Or is that...
We're creating it.
No way.
Yeah, I'm a big car guy, so I love when we call them the big V8s. And they're literally V8 engines fastened to 10-foot fans. And I mean strapped down because they will knock you over.
Okay, what about the car scenes where they're driving in the car? Is that in the studio?
That's all live action.
So that's a real car.
That's Jason Statham driving.
Okay, because I was like, you know, you can kind of tell sometimes, like, dang, I can't tell. Wow. Man, that's...
Yeah, I think, you know, I come from the stunt world. That was my upbringing.
Well, I know. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and so I always got this this common question. What was it like to do stunts? And I realized that what people are really wanting to know is, what did it feel like? What was the emotional rush that I had being set on fire, going 200 miles an hour in a car, you know, falling off of a building? What is that exhilaration? What is that fear? And I thought, that is really what I want to do with action. I want it to be an IMAX ride. I don't want you to watch action. I want you to participate in it. I want to put you in the car,
Dude,
in the car
chase scene with the cop car, that scene was right up there, French Connection. You know what I'm talking about?
Thank you.
That scene was insane.
Yeah,
it was about riveting.
It was about putting you in the car.
Yeah, 100%.
With Jason, not a stunt double, driving behind the wheel with him and being bucking broncos, going down hills and being in there and feeling what it is to not be in like the Fast and the Furious cars where everything sounds like it's a race car, being in a bucket of bolts that scares the crap out of you in the middle of the chase.
When we left the movie and my sons were like, this movie's fantastic. My youngest son was 19, was in the back seat. He starts Googling the movie. Then he starts Googling you. And from the back seat, he's like, Dad, he was in Days of Thunder. He was in Tango and Cash. He starts listing off all these movies you're in. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Like, wait, what? I didn't know that you were a stunt guy before that. Yeah. So what was Tango and Cash? Who'd you play? Were you Kurt Russell? No.
When all the big pit fight where
in prison?
When we were in the cement quarry.
Oh yeah,
and the big monster trucks are coming out and everything else. I mean, you know, back then we were blowing real fire, real gasoline fire, everything that you're not really doing nowadays anymore. Let's just say the decontamination unit was probably there for about 4 or 5 months after we were done. But I feel like we're on the other side of the bell curve in a really good way, where my era doing stunts and well before me, we were doing it for real. You just brought up the French Connection or Bullet, and those type of movies. Those are real car chases.
Well, Hooper.
He's my modern day Steve McQueen.
Oh, 100%, man.
He lives and breathes the way that his mantra is in real life, the way that it is for his characters. And there's nothing fake about Jason. So his fight choreography is because he is a martial artist fighter. He's not Steven Seagal faking it. I was around Seagal and those guys. They're all full of crap.
Yeah.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, no.
But he lives that way with that code. And what I loved about the action back then is we were doing it for real. And then we went through this whole era of everything getting really fake. Visual effects came around. Everybody started relying on it. Everybody started dropping cars 1,000 feet from the air and they just drive off like nothing happened to them. And there's nothing wrong with those big, kind of hyper real movies. But I'm glad we're getting back into, which is my bread and butter, authenticity.
Yeah.
Getting into grounded stuff where you can still be larger than life and you can still give you a huge action ride. But when you get hit, it freaking hurts. And when cars crash, they crash for real and they don't fire back up.
There was a couple scenes, again, I have to ask you off camera, but because I was like, what? A couple things that happened. But when, my son, when he was listing off some of the stuff, he said there's a movie that came out that didn't do so well at the box office back in the day. And I remember when I went to go see it, I remember the theater I went to go see it. I remember thinking it was a fantastic movie. It was Last Action Hero with Schwarzenegger. Well, that was a great movie.
We all thought that was going to be the biggest hit to Kingdom Come. We're like, actually, to go have a kid go into a movie and meet his action hero.
Yeah, it's genius.
You don't get a better premise than that.
Right.
Yeah.
They should redo that. Who'd you play in that one? Or who'd you stunt guy?
I can't remember. I was all over the place.
How do you go from being a stunt guy to a director of these massive movies with these massive stars?
It was tough back then to people take you seriously. Hal Needham, who directed Hooper and the Smoking the Bandits, he was the godfather. He was the godfather of the stunt business. He was the first one to really cross over and be a legitimate Hollywood director with his own brand. But nobody was taking us very seriously. But what they didn't realize is us stunt players, we get the seat at the table. We're right there by camera, day in, day out, watching how it's made and being a part of the creative. So we have this great place of firsthand experience. Then you bring that and hopefully try to be a storyteller, going through commercials and second and directing with action. It was not until I really started writing and then created my own material. That's where Felon was born. Felon kind of changed the map for me. It became my calling card of movies that will push buttons. Hopefully they'll be emotionally gripping, take you into worlds that will answer or not answer, but question things of morality. What would it like to go to prison? What would you have to do to endure to survive it? What would it do to your psyche? And yet entertain you in a real provocative way. That's where I started understanding where I can take the action world that I come from and then put my own sensibilities, not be, which we were talking about before we started about Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne and I had the pleasure of working with him on Snitch. And we talked a lot about legacy and where we get typecast in a certain way. If we're a former wrestler, went through football, the size and scale he is, the color of him, until he finally had figured out, I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to be who I want to be and do my own brand.
Well, that's why I think he did Smash Machine, because it was 100%. It showed his acting chops.
And I knew he was that. He blew my mind in Snitch of how committed he was to that role. And it started to show me that we can have our cake and eat it too in these movies. That's what Shelter does. It's Jason Statham in his glory as an action star, but you're seeing him in a different lens than you've ever seen him, because you're seeing a gifted actor that's giving you vulnerability, giving you real empathy and hope, and showing that here's this lost soul in self-exile, put himself away so that that dark cloud wouldn't follow anybody else, saves a young girl from the sea, who's also living in her own exile from trauma, losing parents, in her own little oblivion. And they find each other and they find family. And now we want them to be together. It's Shane. Mm-hmm. It's the old classic Westerns of the guy that rides a town and people want him to stay, but he knows that dark cloud is following him. So what do? You know
how I knew it was great is when the movie's over and you don't want it to end. Like, there's all these jokes about Wicked, how long it is. Like, when is this thing going to be over? Especially Wicked Part 2. This ended. I was like, what? Wait a minute. No, give me more. Good. So I'm assuming there's going to be Shelter 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, man. The kiss of death is ever trying to make a movie and think it's the start of a franchise. Just make a good movie.
Okay.
And if you look at my last few movies, they really kind of speak to what I'm trying to do. One, between Shot Caller and Greenland.
Shot Caller with Jamie Lannister?
Yeah.
That was a kick-ass movie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And for that movie example, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tie it up in a neat little bow. When violence breeds violence and you become violent to defend yourself, and then you know that dark cloud is going to follow you, one, he's not going to get out of prison acting that way. He's not going to ride off into the sunset. Mm. What he's doing is trying to shut his son out of his life to not let that dark cloud follow him. Mm-hmm. So instead of leaving you on a downer of, Jesus, I watched 2 hours of this and I walk out in a downer, I don't want that. I wouldn't want that as an audience member. I want to give you a glimmer of hope, because I think that that's what life is about, right? Life's about hope. And you get that letter from the son. Thank you, Dad. I understand and I forgive you. So you get that smile on your eye, on your face, but I didn't sugarcoat it and I didn't tie it up in a neat bow. In Greenland, we told you we were going to wreck the earth, and we do it. We obliterate.
I'm in the middle
earth.
of it. I haven't finished it yet. Don't tell me. I was watching it 2 weeks ago before I even know I was interviewing you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on HBO right now.
We wrecked the earth. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. Hey,
You can't have the director of the movie ruin the movie for me.
But you'll see what we do at the ending. There's a sense of that we all want is that sense of hope, and that sense of bittersweet with this of a guy that has found family and a girl that has found her family and wants to do anything but to lose them. But what is your sense of duty to your loved ones?
Wait, let me ask you this about Greenland 1, the first one. And this is again, you gave me a permission to ask you stupid movies. In the beginning of the movie, he comes home and she's on the treadmill running, right? She's running on the treadmill, and and the actress, I can't remember her name.
Marina Baccarin.
Yeah, she was in Homeland. She's in
she's awesome.
Deadpool. She's awesome. She's got sweat coming down her back in her tank top. I was just curious, how much did she have to run on the treadmill? How many scenes did you do that? Was that real sweat? Did you guys spray the sweat down?
Marina, if you put me and Jerry Butler and Marina in a dark alley, she's probably going to kick both our asses.
Right.
She's just no joke, and she's a very committed actress. I love her to death.
Yeah.
And no, she said, hey, I'm going to run on this for about 5 minutes. I want to be out of breath. I want to do this for real.
Yeah, because she said she ran 5 miles on there, and then
even in the middle of the movie when she's trying to find her child, and she's running through to the FEMA camp. All night long she was running and
That's
doing
awesome.
Physicality. You love that. It's like, I'm all in on the movies that I make. And when I get to work with actors that are all in as well, and not, showing up to set and they don't want to work, or they're questioning this or that, but they're committed to it. You don't get any more committed to that guy.
Right.
I mean, he comes in it to win it every single day.
How often how long do you rehearse the fight scenes? And you must get involved as a stunt guy. You must be like, wait, this is how this would happen, or here's how you should land. Do you get that involved?
No, with Jason, what's great about him is he doesn't want to wing it. He wants it done right.
So
he'll spend weeks upon weeks with choreography and making sure that we really have it mapped out, so that when we get there on the day, we're raising the bar. We're making it even better. And he's crashing into things. He's hitting for real. It's all live action.
What's the day that you started filming? Like, how long ago did this process take? Like, when was the first time you hit record? Was it 2023, 2024?
No, it was just, we just made this in 2025.
Oh, you did?
I was filming, I want to say, before the end of February.
Wow.
And
That's a quick
It was
turnaround.
in March. No, I think we shot in March, and then, this whole entire movie was finished by Christmas this year.
With this poster right here, for example, are you involved in that? Do you like, I approved this poster? Or is that executive producer stuff?
The company in the studio we made this with Black Bear have been phenomenal partners. And Jason and I they know we're both very passionate about the movie. What I like is that we're all very respectful of one another and collaborative. So yeah, we're all involved in these decisions and wanting it to be right. It's a great passion project we love. It's like you get to have this big action movie, but there are tearjerker moments in it.
Yeah.
There are places that you have levity. There are places that hopefully the entire movie, you're rooting for your heroes, and again, emotionally gripped in it.
You know the part where they need a car and they go to that house and there's the dad and the son? That shocked the hell out of me. If you know, I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
But there was a scene that happened there that I was not expecting. I was like, what? Like, I actually said out loud in the theater, what? It's a really, really good movie, man. So what's next? Like right now, wait, before you tell me what's next. When you pick a release date, like January 30th, do you look at what other movies are coming out that day? Do you we don't want to release it here, man, Avatar's coming out, or we don't want to release it here, Wicked or Star Wars?
It's tough. The calendar is really tough because our business is back. The theatrical experience, people are realizing, why do you go to live concerts? It's because the live sense of music is different than listening at home on your stereo. And it's just no different with movies. We go to the cinema to experience things together, to have a different visceral experience. So we're back, and a lot of movies are coming out, and it's tough sledding out there to really attract people. So we are looking at different calendar dates, and we're trying to find the right moments. And every weekend you're going to have competition. And at the end of the day, it's always a nerve-wracking thing, but you're also trying to find a place where you can get the most traction, where people are going to see your movie and give it legs and give it life in a theatrical way, and then let it take its course from there.
Do you get people to compliment your eyes every day? You have beautiful eyes.
Only you, buddy.
But I don't mean that.
Only you.
I'm just looking at you. Like when you talk, I'm just like, wow, man. They're like hypnotizing, man. So,
I'm going to come here on every circuit and get interviewed, but we're in now. You and
sure.
I.
What is your next, like, what's your next project?
There's a few things we're looking at. Jason and I want to work together again. There's a project, I'm sorry, I'm not being coy, but I can't talk about, but is based on a true story, and it's very close to current events that are going on right now.
Okay.
And that I'm really excited about. But
like you've already said yes, you're going to do it.
Yeah. And so we're just trying to figure out schedules and lining things up. The movie business is a big Rubik's Cube. Right? Director, movie star, dates, financing, all these things got to go, and all the colors got to get to the same. And it takes some, and sometimes it's, I find it like sometimes they don't go together. You have all these ingredients, but the Rubik's Cube doesn't really all match up, and we don't get that, things into production. And sometimes a movie star calls, like this case, and 12 weeks later, I'm shooting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you should remake Tango and Cash.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a freaking great movie. What about some movies? Because I think we're the same age. Movies that like made an impact, like Sharky's Machine. Yeah. Right? Did you see that movie? You saw that movie, right?
Not only saw Sharky's Machine, but Dar Robinson, who did the big high fall in Sharky's Machine.
That's
who
right.
played the albino hitman in that. God rest his soul. He was an incredible stuntman. But you're speaking to the era I grew up in. I grew up around a lot of the pioneers in the business. A lot of them are dead now. A lot of them have passed away, including my own father. But there was just an era of growing up, we're around the same age, as a kid in the 70s, I'd go onto the set and there'd be Clint Eastwood, and I didn't care who he was.
But your dad was a stuntman too?
Yeah. He was, he went back, he was in the circus. And so Burt Lancaster's Circus Boy was one of the first things he worked on, and then became a professional stuntman. He was Spider-Man in the 1970s, on television.
Oh yeah, because the guy that played Spider-Man was the guy from Sound of Music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Peter Parker. I mean,
the actor.
I forgot his name, but they didn't
Your
like.
Your dad was that Spider-Man stunt guy? I used to watch it all the time.
They didn't like They didn't like the actor in the suit.
Right.
So my dad was always in the suit. Wow. He was always Spider-Man, and so it's fun, grow up with that stuff. And so your heroes were these guys that were crashing cars and doing things for real. You didn't really understand who the actors were. They were just really cool people on set and so forth.
My sister, she's in your business. And when she was coming up, she did a documentary called The Secret World of Stuntmen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she went on the set with Clint Eastwood, and she went on the set with Spielberg when he was doing Jurassic Park. And I remember it's if you ever find, maybe your dad's in there. I don't know, but this is like 25, 30 years ago. It was a great documentary. But the stuntman, so do you have broken bones? You've had it all?
I did pretty well.
Really?
Yeah, I did pretty well. I mean, I was banged up for sure, and I had my share of concussions and super close calls and so forth. But I think that the person that was really pivotal in my life, right? Because as much as my father was somebody that was really an idol to me, it's always somebody else, right? Somebody else always gives you that spark. And Tony Scott was that guy.
Oh, man. Days of Thunder, Top Gun. Wait, no. Days
of Thunder, Top Gun, True Romance, Man on Fire, Crimson Tide.
Great movie. Man on Fire. My God, Mark Anthony was creepy in that.
Yeah, and so Tony was one of these guys that he allowed you the time of day. He allowed you to, be that pesky, rat and gnat, always up there asking him questions. And what I loved about him is he lived or died by his own sword. He didn't try to emulate others. He was very bold, very original. Look at the movies we're talking about, right? They all had their own signature. And I was like, if I can just have a kernel of what Tony does, and
you hit it with this.
Not try. Well, what I'm trying to do is to try to be my own brand and my own voice of wanting movies to have emotion, to have something to say, not beat you over the head with it, not trying to give you my opinion, but let's have something of substance. And then let's put them in a big, shiny wrapper and give you a huge ride, and either scare the crap out of you or make something exhilarating. But that that form of escapism that we love about movies that take you somewhere else. But you come out and you're like, I kind of get who these people are. There's some things I relate to in my own life with them. I don't need to be a guy that was in former MI6, but I understand what isolation is. I understand how we can self-exile ourselves when we think things are of trauma.
Live in a lighthouse with your dog eating oatmeal every day?
Yeah.
That's a good
You've been
life.
there. I've been there.
Yeah. You know what, dude? When he goes and he unleashes that boat and jumps in the boat in the beginning to go get her, that was sick. Was that like a one take, or was that like that was him?
Well, if I was ever going to be some elite special forces guy, I'd have had to have been in Delta Force, because I would have been a terrible Navy SEAL. I am not made for the water. I sink like right to the bottom.
So you weren't in the water when you were shooting those?
But he's phenomenal.
Wow.
You know, he was a high diver when he was younger, and so when you see him rescue swimming, that's him rescue swimming her in a storm, fully clothed with boots on, no cables on him.
That's amazing. Man.
And that young girl would sit there like a rag doll and act like she was unconscious and let him pull her all the way over and get on the boat. And it's just like, when you have that, get the cameras right, do it right, because he's given his all. And what else can you ask for?
When you do another take, do you just go, hey, sorry, Jason, we got to do one more take? Or are you like, hey, let's do it again? Or is it like...
No, I give him context, because I don't ever try to BS my actors. That otherwise we're not giving each other respect. I'll say, like, the camera missed it, man. I need you to come back and do this and that. He goes, okay, let's get it, you know? And that's what I love about him. He understands that everybody's doing their best. If we keep making the same mistake, we're gonna talk about how do we get that out. Like, this idea of filmmakers that end up with 30 takes, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing after 5.
Okay,
If something's not working, that's when I stop. I go, what we're doing is not working. So let's decide what is going to make this work. Because for me, if I don't understand it in 5 takes, I'm not going to understand it in 30.
Right.
Doing the same thing.
Wait, so real quick, you're a stuntman. You've seen it all so many times. So that's when you're like, hey, I can do this. I can be a director. I wrote a movie. I can be a director. It wasn't like you went to film school at all.
Oh, no, we're all that naive. I was like, I can do this.
Right.
I read a crappy script, and I was like, oh, I'll just write my own. Like, that was like the easiest thing in the world. Luckily, people gave me the time of day, not only Tony, but there were some really high-level studio writers that I went to that I'd worked with. And I said, hey, I'm going to write a script, and if it's crap, tell me it's crap, but also explain to me why it's crap. And so I started to write, and they took me to the working writers school. Lucky I have a good work ethic, and I put in my hours, and I put in my blood, sweat, and tears. But that way, when you do it for real, but people are giving you feedback, I wrote a script called Hammer Down, which became this big getaway driver movie. They never made it, but it sold to DreamWorks, and I was on my way, you know? And it's what I try to do with mentorships now with the younger generation when they come my way is I want to reciprocate that. I want to be their Tony Scott, that their guiding light of it's not working, but this is why.
Right.
Hey, come to work on time. Don't be late again. And this is why, because everybody else is depending on you. You think that little satchel that is supposed to be in the shot didn't matter, but now that little satchel that cost us $100 is going to cost me $100,000 because now I have to replace it in all these other shots.
Oh my God.
And you explain the responsibility that we all are together. It's a very collaborative effort, and we're all in it together. And when you have that, people respond. Right. You know, they want to do it right.
Do you do the drawings of every scene ahead of time? I forget what that's called. You know,
Storyboard?
Storyboard, yeah.
Man, I wish. I'm the world's worst. I start, in fact, I've had location managers and even my own sons who are 18-year-old twins, and they have done 3 movies with me now. They're both interning, and their first job, I said, they go, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I was like, your name is Manuel and your name is Labor. Now get in there. And, you know, and it's just go to work and understand. But I said, but don't be the dummies messing around. Watch.
Right.
And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. But if it is, start watching what everybody does and find your lane.
Do they like this movie?
Yeah, and they had they understood. They had a really great time making it.
Were they there with you?
Oh,
or was
yeah.
that Ireland, England?
Not only that one, they were in the desert of Saudi Arabia doing Kandahar. They were in awesome. Greenland Migration on the beaches of Iceland and where we went. And one's in visual effects. Braden does visual effects, and Jackson's in the camera department. And you know they're finding their lanes. And that's what else can you ask for? It's been a great journey to watch them the way that I was with my father. And you know, our business is like, there is nepotism in a way that if you come from a family of plumbers, then, you know, there's a trade that goes in the family. If you come from law enforcement, military, our business is no different. What people forget is the movie business are all tradespeople, right?
Right.
We're all doing it. We're all in there just doing our part to make something happen. And it's a very blue collar business, which I love. And I always say that I might be a movie director now, but I'm part of the crew. You see me grabbing sandbags and carrying C-stands, whatever it takes. Let's just get it done.
People be like, who's the director? That guy over there carrying the bag. That's great.
Yeah, that's the slob in the T-shirt and the shorts.
Yeah.
I left my ascot at home, so.
Hey, thanks for popping on my podcast. I really appreciate it. So it's Shelter. It's in theaters January 30th, and it's a kick-ass movie. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
And I mean it sincerely. 'Cause if it was a bad movie, I'd been like, hey, man, thanks for coming. You got ugly eyes. No. Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show.